And with us now is Brad O'Leary, who is the author of a book with duct tape on it. It can't be all bad. Duct tape right across the mouth of the Statue of Liberty, though. That's the problem. Shut Up America, the end of free speech. We'd like to welcome you to the program.
Thank you for having me on.
I don't know who's responsible for your illustration, but I tell you, just looking at it begins to start making my skin crawl.
Well, that's the kind of America we live in right now.
Now, what are you basing that on? Because, you know, the Gestapo has not yet shown up at my door.
Well, maybe not, but Homeland Security the other day issued a report saying that if you own a gun, you're coming out of the military, or you pay taxes, you're an extremist that the police all over America should watch you.
If you're coming out of the military, you're an extremist?
You didn't read the Homeland Security put out a report saying to 850,000 people in law enforcement that watch people who are paying taxes, who are buying guns, collecting ammunition, or coming out of the military because they have everything that an extremist who wants to attack the government, their thinking is the kind to look out for.
Yeah, and I think I may be I've got bad information. My other information was if you were not a fan of the United Nations, you didn't like the New World Order, you had reason to question the Ammunition and Accountability Act, you were against the North American Union, illegal immigration, abortion, any of those kind of left deals, you're one to be watched.
Yeah, they better get a pair of binoculars, man, because
they sent that notice to 850,000 Americans. Now, on the 1st of April, Obama got 5 senators to introduce a piece of legislation that would create an Internet czar and give the president the authority in time of crisis. It doesn't say what the crisis would be. It could be, the crisis could be losing an election. But that Internet czar would have the ability to take control of the Internet in the United States and shut it down, just like they do in communist China. Now, the book talks about a lot of these things, plus trying to take radio talk show off the air, not only directly with the Fairness Doctrine, but indirectly by cutting your license from an 8-year license to a 2-year license so the government can watch and monitor you more closely, and also forcing you to set up a localism committee, which I call a commissar committee, which could then tell the city and your station management anytime you said anything like you just did that would offend people in your neighborhood who don't own a gun, who don't pay taxes, and have an idea to take up a different lifestyle.
Well, hey, no, go ahead, I'm sorry.
They are very serious about this.
No, they're very serious about it. What confuses me sometimes, or not confuse me, what I wonder is how did we get to the spot where you could even march this out there and everybody on both sides not say, hold on, we can't do this? How could this be even acceptable?
Well, because over the Bush years, unfortunately, we assumed we had somebody watching everything, and his people weren't.
So what we're saying is that slowly but surely, in the interest of safety and the interest of security, we threw the baby out. Liberty just went right out with the bathwater.
Yes, and in the interest of tapping down the rhetoric and allowing them to say Christianity was a hate crime, or different views from than what a certain segment of society might have was a hate crime. And, you know, they passed a law that Bush signed and Republicans and Democrats voted for that said you couldn't criticize congressmen and senators 60 days before the election. And that's still a law.
Well, now those guys are going to do everything they can to stay in there. That's their main. They get elected to keep getting elected.
Correct. And you know, the other thing, your congressman, people who are listening to this right now should send an email to their congressmen and senators just to see how impossibly hard they've made it for you to communicate with them.
Okay. You're saying because they have all these staff members that read it first?
No. They set up a blocking system where you have to say what you're contacting them about, and it goes through an approval before it goes to a staff member. I doubt whether senators and congressmen ever see it.
Is part of that, and I don't want to blame Limbaugh for anything, but you know, every now and then a guy like Limbaugh can say, hey, y'all need to call them right now, and totally jam up the system and shut things down. Is part of that their reaction to that kind of a reaction from us?
Yeah, absolutely. And the reaction is to organizations like the National Rifle Association, when a bill's introduced to take away your Second Amendment right, they've got lots of members who immediately will get on the phone or send emails, and that shuts them down. You know, the other day, the White House has received over 2 million notices from Catholics, evangelicals, Protestants, saying that we believe what the president is doing is killing babies.
Uh-huh.
And he needs to reevaluate those decisions. So, yes. What it does is when Limbaugh does it, the NRA does it, or anyone does it, the voices of Americans are trying to tell them what they're doing is wrong. And they don't want to hear those voices.
Well, they've got a habit of not listening. Let me ask you, now this is going to sound horrible. And I don't know whether I'm not sure that the masses will get the end of free speech. I think that, but I do kind of hope they really and truly try to take people's weapons away, their guns. Because I'm trying to find something that will wake up a lot of folks to get this thing stopped. We had tea parties. Everybody across the country had tea parties a couple of days ago.
Right.
That was a nice show. Keeping that movement alive. I'm trying to find something that would get a lot of people to wake up and go, this government's out of control. Not just Obama's government, the government is out of control. Yeah, the one
beforehand wasn't exactly what one would call stellar.
So, well, I mean, what do you think will be the movement that'll get what will wake us up?
Well, I don't know, but you know, certainly this would have been a better time for Ross Perot to come along than what he did try to come along. And I think it's going to be a question of someone like him being able to spend the money to keep the Sea Parties and everything else alive. And you know, when you guys say, and I know what you're saying because my publisher said, Brad, I'm not sure that a lot of people are going to understand how serious this is, but I'm gratified to say the book's only been out 4 days and it's already on Amazon's bestseller. It's number one in the category they put it in. They put it in 3 categories, and it's 4 in 2 categories and number one in the other. So the book is selling more than anyone thought it would.
Yeah, well, that's
which
good news.
Means that people do care about this. 50 million people listen to talk radio every week.
Yeah.
And they like it because they're not getting the truth from newspapers or television.
But now the other side also says that talk radio is not telling the truth either because they don't present both sides evenly. So
well,
how do